greeted the 38 competitors in last year's Showroom Stock C National Championships at Mid-Ohio as the field waded into the S's. Pole sitter David Roush jumped into an early lead, and as the laps went by, Roush carried his number 13 to ever-increasing margins, leaving the rest of the field in his wake. One driver who may have been a match was 7th qualifier, number 33, John Fernandez, who picked off some in drag races and outbraked others, like number 22, Bob Beatty, who would settle for the bronze. But in the end, Roush put an exclamation point on his day, winning by 18 seconds and proclaiming himself champion. The number 13 has been very lucky for Dave Roush. Last year, he put on a clinic to a dominating drive in his Mazda. This year, though, he's running 3 different classes. He's been awfully busy, but he has been quick in every one of those divisions. The story last year, though, could have been different. John Fernandez only qualified 7th, but he put in a storming drive to the silver medal. He is very quick, as 5 wins in his division in the championship will attest. Another divisional champion is Wiley Timbrook. He won a gold in 1990, but it's been a dry spell since. He wants to add another one. They call him the Coyote. Wiley's had 6 wins this year. The Coyote, he's still chasing that bird. For more on these Showroom C contenders, let's check in with my partner, David Hobbs.
Showroom Stock C, very competitive and a great variety of cars. Dodge Neon of Ralph Porter. This is a brand new car this year. He came 4th here last year in his old car, but he's had some podium finishes this year and ended up 3rd in his division. Michael Kramer in his Saturn. He came from last to 6th in this event last year, and he was 2nd in his division championship this year, so he's looking for a podium this afternoon. But boy, they're all going to have their work cut out this afternoon. Bob Beatty, 10 wins this year, 5 in Grand Am Cup, 5 in Showroom Stock C. Division champion, obviously. They're really going to have a hard time beating off old Bob Beatty this afternoon.
One of the most anticipated of races in SCCA's national championship is about to unfold. 32 soldiers of Showroom Stock C have survived the battles of the divisional championship. Now it's time to try and win the war and become a national champion in Showroom Stock C. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 39th edition of the Valvoline Runoffs here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. Greg Creamer along with David Hobbs. And David, they hold this here for 9 years now, and there's a reason. This track is incredibly challenging and exciting.
Well, it's very exciting. It's a great track to drive on. It has a lot of flowing to it, and it's a great track to view, too. It's one of the best in North America. That 2.5 miles, just under 15 turns. As you can see, a very long back straight, which is quite steeply downhill as well, so you get a lot of speed there. And then you go into those S's, and I mean, one corner after another. So it does make it just a little bit difficult to overtake. Another good thing about this track, it's nice and smooth.
Very smooth. Now let's introduce you to those soldiers with the Valvoline starting grid. You can see Fernandez ended up on pole. David Roush 3rd. Eric Hoysley, the 95 champion, is up in that top group of 10 as well, as is Bob Beatty. But David, we have a couple of divisional champions from the back half of the pack.
Well, we do. Wiley Timbrook there with 6 victories from the Rocky Mountain, and John Saucier from the Midwest with 9 wins. But Bob Beatty with his 10 wins there, down in 10th spot. Who'd have thought that?
And John Bizignano, one of the first of our pit reporters. This is a big field, and there's a great variety in it.
Well, you're absolutely right, but it's a point of pride for the manufacturers. Right here, it's demonstrated very well on the front of this grid. We have Dodge, Honda, Mazda represented in the first 3, all qualifying within tenths of seconds of one another's. This means a lot. Showroom stock, that's the way the cars are originally designed. It points towards their excellence in engineering and manufacturing. These manufacturers want to beat each other on the track and in the showroom. Now, for more on the tires in this class, let's go down to my pit partner, Brian Till.
Well, John, not only is it a marketing guy's dream as far as makes go, tires the same way. It's Kumho versus Hoosier. These want to finish on the podium, and it may actually be tires that make the difference here today. It rained very hard last night. The track is very green. The tires that come up to temperature the quickest and work well in these cool conditions may be the ones that put the guy on the top step of that podium. I'm also looking at some dark clouds. Moisture may play a factor here this morning. Greg?
Thanks very much, Brian. Indeed, the rains here last night, folks, were unbelievable monsoon-type conditions, and it has drastically affected things, and everything depends on those 4 little pieces of rubber that contact the ground. Every input goes through those. We'll be back with more at the Runoffs. SCCA Valvoline Runoffs is brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. We are back at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and this, of course, is the Valvoline Runoffs, the National Championship chase for Showroom Stock C. Now, David Hobbs, Showroom Stock, the name implies what the class is about, but give us a little bit of an indication.
Well, exactly what it implies. Showroom Stock B are the bigger cars, Showroom Stock C are the smaller cars, which as we've already seen is things like Honda Civic SIs, Dodge Neons, Mazda Proteges. You're not allowed to do anything to the car. It can't be older than 5 years. You can't do anything to the car except safety equipment and a roll cage. So obviously the roll cage does in fact stiffen them up a bit, but they really are, as they say, Showroom Stock. Very exciting. I can't believe how close the grid is on time. I mean, just tenths of a second. Cover the first 3 or 4 rows of the grid.
And we're going to see some great onboard shots of people trying to work up through that tight pack. First of all, this is the number 16 of Michael Kramer, qualified 8th in the Saturn. We talked about him a little bit earlier in the program. So we'll be watching some great shots from him as he works up through this pack that David was talking about. And you can see it right there as an indication, 32 strong. And then we're also going to be on board with the number 76. That's Tom Lang, and he qualified in the 11th spot. So even better views, perhaps, as he comes by. And notice just off to his left, the number 22 of Bob Beatty. He's the bronze medalist from last year. But, Brian Till, there are other guys that you're keeping your eye on.
Oh, absolutely. Gene Harrington's been running this class since '94, but they didn't decide they were going to come here until just last week. He paid his late fee. He's here. He's missed a couple of sessions. They actually had to take the car back to Louisville, Kentucky to work on it. I didn't get back until late last night. Keep an eye on him. Hey, what's the scoop from where you are, John?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking at that number 16, Michael Kramer. Now, last year, he put on the best show of the race. He was in 36 qualifying position and worked his way all the way up to 6. He's a lot closer to the front, and that's where he says he's going.
Well, Biz, it's interesting. That car is known for straight line speed. It's got a little more power than some of these other ones, thus it carries a little more weight, but in a straight line, and if he can get to the front, it's awful tough to pass, and that's going to start right about now. They're rolling into the throttle just a little bit, and there's Kramer looking to move early, and we're green, and boy, that was very close, David.
It was awfully close. He couldn't jink right because you don't want to be putting the wheel on the grass today after that incredible rain last night. Look at them, 4 abreast, 5 abreast as they go into turn 6. Turn 1 of the race, of course, but turn 6 in there. Oh, there's a lot of banging and nudging going on there. The 22 car making a good move there.
That's Beatty. He had the bronze. Now, it's Bill Haggerty, by the way, number 17 outside of the front row that moved into the lead, and a problem early for the 06 of Tom Stark. He did not get a good one. Oh, contact there. That was between Lang and Kramer, and I think just off to the side. Looked like number 27, but I think it's 21 maybe held around. Oh, more contact.
To 11 there. Oh, that is not a good corner to go side by side. The road drops away very sharply there, and you get a lot of suspension droop. The thing drops away. Turn 13 coming up. This is a tricky one. No camera to help you at all, but an important one as it leads down to the carousel.
And by the way, we saw number 92, Stan Wilson, who qualified 4th, go backwards in a hurry from one of our onboard cameras. And the gentleman I thought was number 27 was 28.
Whoa! Spin out the car. No, no.
Two of them, 2 different incidents.
That guy's facing the traffic. That's number 28.
That's Bauman. Remember, he had a very tough day in the Showroom C competition. And it starts off rough. And you can see he's got a broken left front corner. A big hit. So he's running 2 national championships here at this event, and in both of them he's been involved in contact. This time he's not going to be able to finish.
This is going to bring out a full course caution, I would imagine, because he is stuck. I think that car is immobilized right in the middle of the road of the carousel there. So that was a pretty hectic first lap there, going full course caution coming out.
We would think.
What a weekend
here it
he had
comes.
yesterday in his Toyota. He had the front stove in, and then he got T-boned in the side going through the keyhole. And he is hot.
He's a little upset. By the way, Bill Haggerty had already opened up a 2-second lead. He's not going to be happy about this one. And there you go. He got helped around, and then boom, he's going to get collected. Watch the hit right there.
Miracle he didn't get collected more. People take it to the grass, both sides, and of course you can't see him in that smoke. Not a happy camper. Jürgen Baumann got helped around there, which is not surprising. I mean, this traffic was just massive there. No doubt about it.
I couldn't pick up the number of the car that clipped him.
No,
I could see when it happened, but I just couldn't quite grab the number of the car. So there's somebody else there who's driving around with a little bit of damage, and we saw in other spots of the track there were some cars that were in some shoving matches. So the metal's getting wrinkled a little early here in Showroom Stock C at the Runoffs.
SSC champion in 1995. He won another championship in 1998, but he's been absent for the past 4 years. Eric, you love to race more than anything else, but what have you been doing?
Well, I got married in 1999, and I've had 2 boys since then, and we've just been focusing on the normal family life.
Well, now, normalcy for you is going to work at Chrysler every day. That's got to help when racing a Neon.
Well, it helps a little bit, I think, in diagnosing when we have any problems, but it's really mainly just fun, and it's a lot of fun to push the cars to the limit, see what they'll do, and show everybody how they perform.
Well, Eric is the man to beat in this class. He has a lot of respect, and the bullet holes on the back of his car is telling everyone to take their best shot.
Well, he's the one who's fired off the rounds a bit early here. He went from 5th to 2nd. He's running in 2nd right now behind the leader, Bill Haggerty. And by the way, the pole qualifier, Fernandez, has dropped down to 14th. He got caught up in a couple of those moments, and it cost him dearly. Now, one of the gentlemen who was involved right in the middle of that, been sort of a punching bag since he's got here to the runoffs, Biz.
Well, Jorgen Baumann, they just took your car off the track. You're watching everyone else go by. Very crowded out there in the first lap.
Yeah, everybody's being a little stupid and losing their head, but I mean, all we can do is what we can do. I mean,
what happened to you?
Somebody turned me sideways in the middle of the corner. I don't know.
A lot of work to get here, ended very quickly for you.
Yeah, it's not a good day, obviously, in the first lap, so.
He'll be back next year.
And he's going to want, obviously, to change things up just a little bit, David. We saw a replay of it as he's storming away, understandably so.
Well, there's a couple of cars involved, and it's ever so hard to pick out from that replay. There was a couple of blue cars involved, and the blue car went off to his left and got jammed into the guardrail, but I think it's back on the track now, so pretty hard to tell. But poor old Jürgen Baumeister not having a very good weekend or week down here at the runoffs.
No, not at all. I mean, he had qualified okay as we're back to green, but it's all over at this stage. Now the question is, can Haggerty open up that lead once again? Behind the lead too. Look at this move, side by side. That's Roush. He was under attack and he just protected inside. Look at Bob Beatty. Beatty qualified 10th, and you noticed during the break that he'd moved up into 5th, but he just got shuffled back by Joe Lipperini, the number 81, and here comes the number 8 of Harrington, diving to the inside of Beatty. They're still side by side. The exit now of the S is up in the exit of Madness, still side by side.
Now they're going to go side by side through 11.
I think Beatty's smart enough there. He lets him go.
Yeah, he didn't want to be on the outside of 11 there. Beatty's 10 to win, so he's very smart. But somebody's coming to the camera car. That must be Michael Kramer coming up alongside Beatty.
That's right, and you can see the little bit of a horsepower advantage. But now Beatty, lighter car, dabs the brakes, cuts in, and somebody's going underneath Kramer as well. Couldn't quite make it work there, but
Harrington locking up, going to the carousel. This is the scene of the crime for Jürgen. Right there, you'll see the marks on the track. Swinging down that little left-hand. Very important to get that quick as you go onto this long pit straight.
yeah, and I'll tell you, Mike Kramer has had a great opening lap after the green. Brian Till, he is definitely on a charge.
Tom, you're the crew chief for Michael Kramer, Tom Brandlaner. You guys have anything for these cars in front of you? We thought maybe your strength would be straight line speed.
Well, absolutely. Actually, we're a little bit underpowered when it comes to the Hondas and so on, but we've got the braking and the handling of that car by leaps and bounds. So that's going to be our benefit going into the carousel, coming out of the keyhole, and coming out of the exit as quick as we can, which will get us down the front or the back straightaway anyway.
Well, they think they got a car that'll handle guys, and everybody always complains about being down on horsepower, so we'll see how it turns out.
Well, I know I was always down on horsepower. Every car I drove was always down on horsepower, especially here at Mid-Ohio. You need it down this straight. You can see just how evenly matched those two cars were down the straight. Now we'll see if that braking his crew chief was talking about didn't do much good that time. In fact, the car behind him made a little bit of ground on Kramer. Now we're going through Madness, your favorite corner. Gregory Kramer. 22 car Beatty really under pressure now from the Saturn. The Saturn looking good on the brakes as it went into 8.
Yeah, and right behind the Saturn is our other camera car, Tom Long. So this is a good scrap right now, essentially for the 5th spot. Harrington, then blue number 8, holds it. Then it's Beatty, then Kramer, then Long, and that's the group right there. And they're not too far back from Lipperini and David Roush either at this stage. Some good battling right there, and we're on board But up front, it is Bill Haggerty, and he has opened it up just a little bit over Eric Hoechley, and then they have about a 2-second margin right now over David Roush, Lipperini, and the rest of the pack here in Showroom Stock C. So Bill Haggerty from second. He jumped out early at the original green, and he's doing it again after the restart. Back to the Valvoline Runoffs, the Sports Car Club America's National Championship, and we are underway with the battle that is unfolding in Showroom Stock C right here in Speed Channel. Glad to have you with us. And we've already got ourselves a war, really, more than a battle that's developing out there. It is intense. Watching what's unfolding. There's second place, number 40, Eric Hoechley. John Bizignano talked about the fact that he hasn't been racing for a while, but back in the mid-90s, he was one of the men that ran in this category and ran with tremendous success. But it certainly appears, David, that at this stage, he just does not have a handle on what to do with Bill Haggerty.
Bill Haggerty is having a good run now. Of course, everybody's calculations got slightly messed up. They've had 3 days, well, they've had 4 days of practice, 3 days of qualifying, including practice. But everything all was changed last night. I mean, we had a rainstorm last night, the like of which I don't think I've ever seen before. I mean, the rain was horizontal. We must have had about 4 inches in about an hour. And obviously, it changed the dynamics of this track a lot. And Bill Haggerty seems to have come to grips with it best of all.
Working lap number 6 of 20 at this stage. And Brian Tillett talked about the different tires that are being used here. And it's interesting. I mean, a tire that's good early might not necessarily be good late here, especially if you're really leaning on it. So this is by no means a decided deal. And now we know what happened to number 33, Fernandez. You see as he goes through the screen, he's back up into the top 10 in 9th. But there's a big wrinkle on the side of that number 33.
Well, there's a big wrinkle there, but it's not bothering anybody. He said he got punted on the first lap. Boy, there's a surprise. But the car was okay. Now, when he came by the last lap, he was in 13th, and this time I had him in either an 8th or 9th. So he's coming through the field, but I'll tell you, that's a long ways to make up in SSC.
Well, he has actually done, his last lap was a 150.2. Bill Haggerty did a 49.8, but of course, Bill Haggerty's got an absolutely dead clear track, and that is the second. John Fernandez's lap there was the second fastest lap to our leader. Despite the fact he's in that traffic, so Fernandez really whistling through the field.
Good battle right here. That's number 44 of Paul Charlesley, and he's going after the 71 of Larry DeLune, and it's inside, outside, and back. Check that. That's number 14 of Ali Naebi, who is, by the way, a divisional champion in the Northern Pacific Division, 4 wins this year, and those two are having a good scrap. Charlesley tried the outside, tried the inside, and neither worked.
Paul Charles' brother Steve used to work on the Porsche 962 that I raced here for John Fitzpatrick in 1982 when we won this 500-mile race. It actually happened in 935. And Paul Charles' brother Steve was a mechanic on my car for a long time.
Well, obviously the name has some pretty good connections to racing, as he's running very strongly at this point. And right behind them, there's the number 32 of Ralph Porter, and he is being worked over at this point by number 70, Sam Ryan. Well, I wonder if he may not have been the car that clipped Bauman, because there was a 2 and I couldn't see another number on it, but I'm not sure. But there's the number 70 of Sam Ryan right behind him.
Ralph lying down in 14th. We spoke to him top of the show.
He qualified 18th, so he has been able to move up just a little bit. Sam Ryan qualified in 24th, so he too is having a very strong run here in the early going, finding himself up in the 15th spot. Ryan a win in the Northeastern Division during the season, Chase. Boy, he gets into the keyhole very strong.
You got to hand it to Ralph Porter. I mean, he's here racing this weekend. He's been racing all year. Had a terrible, terrible personal year. Lost his wife in February. Lost his mother just recently. And as he said, his wife was not his best friend, but it turned out she was one of his best sponsors as well. She used to work a lot of overtime for him.
Well, it's a tough season for him. Last year, Porter, by the way, finished 4th, just missing the bronze, but he's struggling a little bit more now. Moving up a little bit, there's Joel Lipperini, the red car. Right behind him is the number 8 of Harrington, and those two duking it out for 4th, and Bob Beatty, number 22, not far behind them, and then the camera car of Mike Kramer. But Fernandez now has moved up into 8th behind Kramer and is coming on, so he might be joining this group as well as we go on board with Kramer. Harrington moving way over, trying to get a run on Lipperini. Harrington driving a Neon, and as is actually Lipperini driving a Honda Civic. So that manufacturer battle we talked about, living in a lot of different areas here on the track. Harrington trying the move. He just can't get it done.
Bob Beattie, too, just rocketed through the field on that first couple of laps, and he slipped back a few places. So Bob Beattie seems to have peaked out now.
Well, after all the battling we had early in the incidents, I suppose it's going to take a little bit for things to settle, which they have, and it's settled in favor of Bill Haggerty up front.
Name is very familiar in SCCA racing, and especially in showroom stock. Randy Saucier has won the SSB National Championship the last 2 years in a row, and his father, John Saucier, well, John, you've been chasing a national championship for the last 42 years.
Yeah, Brian, and it's extremely elusive. And, you know, the runoffs are very much like the Olympics. It's the Olympics, basically, of amateur racing. You know, even though I've won the division, Midwest Division, last 12 years in a row, I still haven't won a national championship, and here my kid does it 2 years in a row.
You don't think showroom stock racing's competitive? 42 years, and he's still chasing a national championship.
Well, it's not only competitive, it is addictive, and that 42 years, I think, speaks as much about the fact that you fall in love with it and you pursue it. There he is right now, running in the 21st spot, so having another struggle for that national championship. But at the end of it, you know he'll be back because it's all about the camaraderie, the people, and the race, as well as it is the results. There's our leader, Bill Haggerty, who has almost opened up a lead of some 2 seconds at this point in showroom stock competition.
That's a lot.
That's pretty strong, and you can see the crew is ecstatic over that. There's Hoishley behind him, and then look at the margin further back. They've opened up a nice pack to Joe Lipperini, and a Gene Harrington and Bob Beattie.
Look at this 33 car here. That is our pole sitter. That is John Fernandez, who's now up to 5th. Now he's up to 4th, having got around Gene Harrington. So John Fernandez on an incredible roll, and he is going to be saying to himself after this race, you know, what happened, what could have happened in this race, because he is just hot. He's done a 51.8 on that last lap. Bill Haggerty's done a 49.8, but of course Fernandez getting around a couple of cars and still doing that lap time.
Now, we also had a moment for Michael Kramer, one of our camera cars, of course, the Saturn, just a couple of minutes ago. Here's what happens here.
In fact, was he helped by our man Fernandez there? He was right in front of Fernandez. And of course, this is the trouble after all that rain last night. He gets up onto that wet grass, very, very slick out there. Actually doesn't lose as much time as he might have done and didn't hit anything. Perfect.
I don't know. On that replay, Dave, it didn't look like there was a sudden, like he just got punted. It looked like he just lost it.
Coming to the keyhole. He was trying hard to get to the keyhole, which is such an important corner here because you've got this long straight after it, and you really want to make time down that straight. So Fernandez now past Harrington in the 8 car. In hot pursuit now of Joel Lipperini in that red car in front of him in the number 01.
81. Monitors. Monitors is a little bit fun. Oh, look at this. Oh, down to the inside, some lockup. That's the Wiley veteran. The white car is Wiley Timbrook. He's having a run right now, and you'll notice that he made the move, couldn't get it done, and then it dropped him back a little bit. He's trying to run with Hal Brown. These guys have been mixing it up, and Wiley has been put on a nice run here and shuffled back up through this pass.
This incredible battle, by the way, is for 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th spot. I mean, this is what racing is like in this showroom stock classes. I mean, it's absolutely incredibly intense. Whoa, look at this.
That's Fernandez
going around Lipperini on the inside of the fastest turn here. Lipperini not giving up an inch as they go up to the chicane, and now he's going to be on the inside.
Boy, Fernandez is not wasting any time. And John Bizignano, you said earlier they didn't think the car had any problems. Woo. I'd say there's evidence. It's good.
I'll tell you,
look at the wheel up the ground there.
Everyone out there might want to have that same dent in their car. But the secret that they feel that they have, the advantage they have, are the Hoosier tires. They think that with the lighter wind conditions, virtually no wind whatsoever, their power is fine compared to everybody else. They've struggled in qualifying down that back straightaway sometimes. But the Hoosier tires, with the colder conditions today, they are getting the grip. So right now, he is certainly the fastest man on the track that we can see from the pit lane.
Well, boy, I tell you what, he whistled by that Honda Civic then going down the straight big time. He was a lot quicker down the straight all the way through, and then as he comes into the S's that start at turn 6, he's also very quick all the way through here.
Well, sometimes an early punt like that, and the red mist settles in, and if you can focus it, get the adrenaline and get it focused, you just find a little bit more. Boy, Fernandez is absolutely screaming right now. And once he gets by somebody, it's not like they're able to stay with him.
No, oh no, he's the quickest guy out there at the moment. The only trouble is, of course, that John Haggerty, Bill Haggerty and he are doing about the same lap times. And of course, he is a long way back because he had to come through the field. What's he come from? 17th or 19th spot?
Yeah, he was well back in the order, and he's fought his way up. But as you said, the issue here is the fact that while all that was unfolding, Haggerty over that battle for third has opened up about a 12-second lead. And we are now just completing lap 11, starting lap 12. Only 8 to go. Fernandez has his work cut out. Back at Mid-Ohio, and the battling continues for the Showroom Stock C National Championship. There's your leader. That's Bill Haggerty, qualified second in the Gemini Consulting Honda Civic, and he has just managed to hang on. Hoistley, once he got about 2 seconds back, there you see Hoistley, the black hood on his machine. Once he got about 2 seconds back in his neon, it's settled, and he has not lost anything. But the bigger issue is he has not been able to gain anything.
No, lifting the wheel there as he goes through madness.
Fun to watch the different lines drivers use in that section, because I mean they're radically different.
Personally, I don't know how these guys can drive these front-wheel drive cars at racing speeds. Every time I drive it, it's just a disaster.
Battle a little bit further back in the pack here. That's Tom Long, number 76, and he's got some big pressure right now from Jason Fernandez in the number 24. This is the battle for about 8th at this stage. Up and over, that's that exit there of madness, and now into 11. Oh, touch! Can he save it? He does. He hangs on to it, but over the inside of the track and down to the inside. I think that's Ali Naimi, who might just be trying to make the pass.
I think he hung in there, though, and stayed in front. That was what they call a lurid moment.
Well, look what's happening now behind them. Oh, and a bump. Naimi gets a little shove right there, and that's Roush. We haven't been saying much about Roush, who of course qualified third, and he's dropped well back outside of the top 10, and he's trying to come up.
Well, Roush must have dropped. He must have had a spin or something gone off the road, because he is now whistling back up through the field in John Fernandez style. But of course he's coming from a long way back, but he soon disposed of those guys who are duking it out.
Let's go back for a minute and take a look at some of that, because some serious shoving. Right here is the first one. You're going to watch Long get loosened up.
Oh, but he does a beautiful job there. Doesn't overcorrect. Goes up over the grass to make a bit of a shortcut, and still stays in front as they go through 11s, right in the middle of the road. I thought they'd both go one each side. Then coming through 13, Ali Naimi gets easily outside of 13, which lets David Roush through in the 13 car. David Roush now about to set up and hop shoot in the 24 car.
Actually, he's got him now. Now he's going after Long. So, boy, oh, and here goes Roush.
Here he goes.
Boy, way back. Locks up the right front. Can he hang on to it? No.
No. Paid for that dearly. Lost 2 places there. 3 places about to be.
And came on and, I mean, parked Naimi right there. I mean, he lost a lot of momentum. Naimi did.
I mean, that looked like an incredibly adventurous move as he went down and he whistled by those guys with the speed differential. You just knew he was never going to be able to make that corner.
Yeah, it was in there way hot right until he qualified third, and then he sort of dropped off the radar screen for a bit.
Yeah, Greg, I think he had some problems in those opening laps, but one of the other problems that I'm sure is plaguing him, we talked before the race, his Mazda is very stiffly sprung. It's got a sports suspension package on it. It's very stiff. In these cool, cloudy conditions today with a green track, stiff is not necessarily the suspension setup that you want to have. He felt like these cars around him, a little softer sprung. We're going to have better grip in these cooler conditions without a lot of rubber on the racetrack, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing here.
I hope he's got some body stiffness in there as well, because he's using it a lot against the other people, just bouncing off Long in the 24 car. Now he's on the inside as he goes through turn 1, the faster turn here. Very quick through there, pulls out. I think Long will be glad to see him go.
I would think so, yeah. I mean,
that's the way you want to race, Sunshine. See you later.
Yeah, that's Jason Fernandez is the car right behind Roush now that he's been banging on, and I think
I meant Jason Fernandez.
I think if Fernandez gets close enough to him, he may give him a little. Look at this. He clipped that curve. That's into the carousel area, and then bang.
Gives Fernandez a good belt there. Then comes around the outside. Fernandez must be thinking, what the heck's going on here? Around the outside of the carousel, side by side, all the way through.
Well, he leans on him, pounds on him, and then has the bad form to complete the pass.
Well, that was Jason Fernandez he kept banging into. Now he's going to be banging into Tom Long when he catches him out.
You would think.
Now he obviously, there's the 71 car of Larry Delude.
Once again, he is caught up now with Ali Naimi. They'd been battling earlier. We watched that battle, and Naimi had gotten away a little bit, but with all the action in front of him, Delude now has caught him, so that battle for 11th continues. And Mike Kramer, after his off in the Saturn, as we go on board, finds himself scrapping back, and he's regained 6th spot going around Bob Beatty. Ooh, another car up, and that's Harrington.
Gene Harrington. He's after Gene Harrington now with a vengeance. There's some smoke coming from the car in front of him, which is Joe Liparini going into the carousel. There's the 3 of those cars, Liparini, Harrington, and Graham. Graham is catching these 2 guys up.
Well, Harrington looked like he got real loose about mid-corner there in the carousel, and I mean, you've got to get through there because this is the 2nd longest straight on the track.
Well, yeah, the fact is that with these cars, it should be flat through turn 1. You know, as they come out of the carousel, all the way up to the chicane is almost flat out, so you've got to come out of the carousel well.
And Harrington got a little bit loose, and that has allowed Mike Kramer to think about maybe making the pass for 5th here at the Valvoline Runoffs. Valvoline Runoff Showroom Stock C National Championship action. It's Bill Haggerty continuing to lead as he's done since the opening corner. Went around the outside of pole sitter John Fernandez and has been in the lead ever since. Now Eric Hoychley has closed it up. Haggerty had opened up about a 2.5-second lead. It's down to 1.5. So Hoychley is finding things maybe coming back to him just a little bit, and on a clear track ran a lap a 0.5 second faster than Haggerty did. So Hoychley, maybe there's something left in this yet at this point, but Haggerty at the...
Oh, Haggerty, I tell you what, Haggerty's trying hard. Well, he's got his tires smoking there on braking, so this guy is not cruising because he knows that Hoist is right behind him.
Onto the front straight for Haggerty.
1.7 seconds ahead of car 40.
That's Haggerty's crew giving him the information, and he did. He just turned it very quick, 149.8. And that gave him back 0.2 over Hoychley.
Now Fernandez, who got up to 3rd, so now he's got some clear road in front of him. He was 12 seconds behind. Now he's dropped back to 14 seconds. So Haggerty and Hoychley are pulling away from him. Hoychley is definitely catching up to Haggerty. There you see John Fernandez on the pole, passed at turn 1, and then something happened to him somewhere in that first lap, and he got pushed right down to nearly 20th position.
Yeah, he's found 3rd with John Bisognano. That's next. He's found a lot of daylight.
Well, yes, it's just like David says. This is the drive of the race for sure. He went all the way back to midfield and came through up into 3rd. They say the Kumho tires again in these cooler conditions are the trick. What he's hoping for is that the number 1 and the number 2 cars get together and have an incident. Nothing too bad, but he's hoping that those two will slow each other down and he'll be able to fill that gap. But he's a long ways off, guys.
What he means is nothing life-threatening.
Right, just enough to mess him up.
Just enough to mess
and what he's also saying is he needs help. He's not going to be able to do it on his own.
I think you put it right a few moments ago when you said in the break, what he needs is a caution flag.
Yeah,
we need some NASCAR rules, boys.
He's praying for one because that would be perhaps the salvation. Joe Liparini under attack. This is the battle for 4th. Liparini in the red Honda. We're going to jump back again as this battle continues. Oh. And that now is 76 Tom Long. And Long is really shoving Roush around. Well, and I wonder if Roush didn't do a little shoving on his way by Long.
I would say this is definitely a tit for tat because when we were looking at this minute ago, Roush was behind Long, and I said that Long would be in his sights next. No doubt he gave Long a friendly tap on the way through, and Long's just giving him one back now.
Well, I'll tell you, Roush, if nothing else, has had the battle. Here we go. This is a replay of it, David.
Down into turn 6 on the inside. Again, braking really deep, really deep. Is he going to be able to, where does he end up on the road? He stays in front, lifting the wheel. Looked like a clean pass.
That looked clean, but I don't know, maybe something happened up at the top of the S's where they did a little rubbing and Long decided to go back after him.
Long was really giving him some serious love taps on the rear end as they went through those turns a few moments ago, but Roush is really quick through turn 1. I mean, very quick.
He's strong. He just, as they said, got shuffled, caught out some of that mess. He's now up to 8th, which is, of course, well back. But
imagine all that effort, all the overtaking we've seen, all the body contact, all the wheel lifting, all the smoke, and he's 8th. I mean, this is really competitive racing.
This always is a great race. Just a phenomenal show here. So there's Roush, but up front, This is that battle again now for the 4th spot. Lipperini, Harrington, and a resurgent Mike Kramer in the Saturn.
Up over the madness, as we call it. This is actually turn 7. Down to 8. These are some great corners here. They really flow well. Kramer's quick through there. He's catching up with these guys through 10 up to 11. This one's a tricky one here. The road drops away big time. Right. Ooh. Right. There. Drops away. Suspension droop. But he's quick through there. He's picking up ground on 8 on the Harrington car. Coming up to turn 13 through 12. They're all using plenty of road here.
Well, Harrington's been pounding the curbs everywhere, and it really launches these cars.
Kramer looking quicker on that lap. Now, maybe not just as quick.
Right there's where Harrington really loosens up. But it looks like he uses it to rotate the car and then get a straight blast down onto the front straight. And Harrington needs that right now because Mike Kramer is starting to fill his mirrors. Two laps to go here at the Valvoline Runoffs, the national championship battle for Showroom Stock C. Bill Haggerty continues to lead at the number 17, and he has really had Brian Till a relatively easy time of things.
Well, he's starting to get some good pressure. Eric Heuschel's been there the entire time, certainly keeping him honest. But if anybody can stand up to the pressure, it's Haggerty. He's a retired Navy commander. He's been trying to do this for 25 years. That man knows what pressure is, guys. He's going to see if he can hold on.
Yeah, I would think that kind of puts it in perspective in terms of pressure at this stage, and Haggerty doing a great job.
Being a military man, his car is absolutely immaculate and still is immaculate. If anybody smacked into it and put a dent, he'd probably kill him.
He'd, yeah, well, certainly has some intimidation working in his favor here. This is the best battle up front. Right now, Lipperini and Harrington continue to do battle for 4th at this stage. With Mike Kramer right here, he's in it, and then sometimes he'll fade just a little bit. Oh, big loose moment for Lipperini. Another one. Harrington trying to take advantage of Lipperini. It just got wide, and that's what blunted anything that Harrington was thinking of doing, but Lipperini definitely feeling the pressure.
Kramer, the lap before that was much closer to Harrington. He lost a bit of ground on that lap, so really time is running out for Kramer with our camera car in the Saturn. Had a good run last year, came right to the field to finish, what, 6th from way back. This year he's sort of starting and finishing in about the same spot.
38 to 6 last year for Kramer. Oh, and another big wiggle from Lipperini.
Now, Lipperini's tires may be going up just a little bit. Would be the most obvious explanation here. He's on the Kumo tires. Our winner's also on, our leader's also on the Kumo tires. So,
well, Harrington awful close, and when you see somebody that's having problems like Lipperini is, and you're racing him, and he's right in front of you, that gives you a little bit of confidence, I would think, to try something, maybe down here into 7. There he goes.
Might make you try something.
He's trying it. He's inside. He's by. But is he too fast?
He's going awfully fast. Yeah, he's going to go wide, and Lipperini stays in front. But Lipperini locking up now as they go over the top of Madness.
And that allows Kramer
to come alongside Harrington, but he ain't going to go around the outside of 8.
Boy, Harrington, if he would have not gone quite as deep, he could have maybe made the pass and held it, but he just carried a little bit too much heat into that turn.
But that did slow them both up slightly, which allowed Kramer to get right up with them. More action going into turn 6.
That's the number 73. This is our scrap now for the 16th spot. Richard Bunning, and that's Stan Wilson right behind him. Battle for 16th spot. Very close indeed. And again, a couple of different cars are involved in this one. Bunning is driving a Honda. And the number 92 that's right in the heat of this thing with him. That car is a Honda Civic. These two guys giving each other a strong run, and they've got pressure as well. Thomas Lackey starting to join that fight. So 3-car battle for the 16th spot right now. Oh, and a big move. Not quite enough.
Here comes Lackey on the outside. He's in the neon. Brownie, he was thinking he was going to go around the outside of the carousel. Didn't quite work. So the position stayed the same. On the last lap now, these guys got one more lap to go. Our leader will cross the start-finish line before they get there again. So they've got one more lap to sort this out.
It's interesting. Wilson here, who's right in the middle of that battle in that Honda Civic Si, qualified 4th. So he was another one of the drivers that got involved. And I think we may have our answer to which car maybe clipped Bauman's. It could have been the 92. There's definitely 2 involved, and it could have been Wilson, and that may have messed him up in terms of handling, because he is definitely not on the pace. Now, we're in a fast corners called Thunder Valley, and it's for the last time as Haggerty is coming through. Hoysley's knocked the margin down to about a second, but Haggerty just got to hang on. One last couple of corners here. Here he comes, Haggerty onto the front straight, hand out the window. He's done it. He has won the national championship in Showroom Stock. See and look at the emotion down in pit lane. He's tried for a long time, and when it finally happens, David, it opens up the gate sometimes.
Yep, and that's a great win for him. I mean, he did absolutely perfectly. Qualified in 2nd spot, so the weekend's been going pretty strong for him all the time. When I say qualified in 2nd spot, you know, he's only like 2/10 off pole, whistle round pole at the beginning, and unfortunately John Fernandez got tied up in that first lap. So Haggerty having a relatively easy run of it.
And did you see how Joe Lipparini, he didn't even get a medal. He finished 4th, was pumping his fist as he came out of that last turn, because he has just 1 race to the run-up and 2 survived a great battle. But Bill Haggerty has the gold. Of the SCCA Valvoline Runoffs is brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. Welcome back. What a race we saw unfold here, especially the battle for 3rd on back. Here are the top 10, Haggerty, Hoysley, Fernandez. They are the ones that earned the medals, and the one who earned the brightest one, the gold, is with John Bizignano.
Haggerty, I'll tell you, I've never seen so much emotion out of a crew. Congratulations on your first Valvoline championship.
Thank you very much. We had a 2nd. We've been 5th and 5th and 5th and 6th and qualified 3rd last 2 years, and this is a dream come true. I've been trying for 25 years.
Well, tell me how you survived that first lap.
Well, John Fernandez missed a shift. That's how I got that lead, and everybody got clunked up behind him. And then I think maybe the Honda number 92 came together with Roush, and that gave me a lead.
Well, you are a survivor. Congratulations. Let's go down to my pit partner, Brian Till.
Well, Eric, you felt like you guys had a rubber band between the two of you. You could get close sometimes, but then it just seemed like the gap would pull back out. But you kept him honest, definitely.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I kept him honest. He slowed down, and I think he got scared and picked up the pace again. Neon definitely has better handling than the Honda, and the Honda's just got a little more poop at the end of the straightaway.
And you can't say enough for a car with 100,000 miles on it, can you?
Well, not quite. 99,786. Not bad for a $400 wrecked car that we put together this year. And because of that, I'd like to thank Carl Galliana, who helped us out with fixing the car up. And, of course, Hoosier Tires. My tires were there the whole way through the race. I ran these. I tortured these things, and the car never slowed down.
99,000 miles. Congratulations on a great 2nd place. Greg?
Hey, Brian, he's got a history of that. When he won at 95 during qualifying, he totaled his race car. They drove back to Michigan to his shop, found an old ice racer that was of the same vintage, put the usable parts on that car, did what they could. He came back out and won the national title. So he's got a history of that. Take a look through all of our results right now. I want to remind you there were no lead changes in that race at all. Once Haggerty went around the outside, it was all over. There was only 1 caution for a couple of laps, and he easily survived that. Now we're going to head back down to John Bizignano, who's with John Fernandez.
Well, John, great qualifying, but what happened on that first lap? It all went away. A whole week's worth of work, a whole year's worth of work.
Yeah, unfortunately, coming up over Madness, somebody got in the back end of me and spun me around, went down into the tire wall. We went from 1st to last, so back here to 3rd. It was dry, but had some fun out there.
Well, definitely the drive of the meeting.
I think there's no question of that. And tell you what, there are a couple of guys. You're probably getting a little tired of that. Fernandez this year, Michael Kramer last year. If both of them had been able to hold on to where they qualified, it would have been a whole different deal, perhaps.
Well, absolutely, because as our leader said, that he thinks that Fernandez missed a shift at some stage, which of course maybe have allowed somebody to get close enough to him to have tapped him off on Madness. So always something deeper than you think of these races.
However, it allowed John Fernandez to put on the show of the race, perhaps, but Bill Haggerty is the champion. Thanks so much for joining us here at Mid-Ohio for the Runoffs. For David